Welcome back to PlayStation Access and to our top 10 videos designed to guide you through the very best of PlayStation 4's huge lineup of games. This week we're looking at the best games available for PlayStation VR, PlayStation's virtual reality headset, which offers a range of immersive, exhilarating and terrifying experiences that you just can't find anywhere else. As ever, our list is in no particular order, but let's get started with Headmaster, one of the very first games we ever played on PlayStation VR and one that remains a firm favourite. That's basically down to its simplicity.
Okay, I'm ready for a ball. Oh, it's too high.
Faced with the endless immersive possibilities of virtual reality, Headmaster is about heading footballs, a brilliantly straightforward and intuitive response to a piece of technology that more or less transforms your head into a peripheral. The heading itself is great. Responsive controls and accurate physics make hitting targets incredibly moreish, and the game is held together by wry, surrealist humour, with the action taking place at a bizarre sporting camp.
As a reward for earning 3 stars, please enjoy this motivational item.
Before moving on to ever stranger and more fantastic setups and asking you to head increasingly unusual things. Download the free Party Mode DLC for some of the best high score, pass and play fun going, and enjoy a game that's not really about football at all, nor is it a prison. Promise.
Carl, I need you to burn these documents. The police will be here any minute. I can't have them finding all of this. I'll be ruined.
Speaking of simple ideas done incredibly well, next on our list is Beat Saber, the rhythm action hit full of intense visuals, pounding tracks, and brilliantly expressive dance combat. The objective is to slice through these incoming boxes with your laser swords, making sure to match your cuts with the direction of the arrows and to match the colour of your swords with the correct boxes. Yes, the sci-fi aesthetics and elegant weapons from a more civilised age do give Beat Saber the feel of the biggest Friday night of all time on the Death Star, but the really accurate reference here is to Star Wars Kid, because very, very rarely has there ever been a game where the incredible badassery of what's going on inside the VR headset and your own mind is so completely at odds with what it looks like from the outside. Solution: never leave the headset, obviously. To shift pace entirely, next we have Blood and Truth, PSVR's very own action blockbuster. This first-person shooter stars you as Ryan Marks, an ex-Special Forces soldier who returns home for his father's funeral only to find that a rival outfit has made a move on his family's organisation.
Think of it as a merger. Apart from you can f*** off back to the army.
Spoilers, you don't f*** off back to the army, but you do start a war at home, storming your way through a London full of flashy night spots and crumbling tower blocks on a mission of revenge. Free movement around the levels gives combat an extra dimension, or in my case, at least one stealthy kill before I start blowing things up, and the game's shooting is its killer feature, pun intended. It's not just the accuracy of firing in virtual reality, it's that nothing else on PSVR decks you out with this kind of hardware. Dual pistols, automatic rifles, shotguns, grenades, and makes you feel like you're walking around with it strapped to your body, switching guns and reacting to different combat situations. Yes, it gives you loads of guns and makes you feel cool is what I'm saying. Blood and Truth sets out to be an action movie with you as the star, and it does a very good job.
What now?
Don't wet your pants. Backup generator will kick in soon.
We've spoken about Resident Evil 7 Biohazard before, and as we all know, Dave has played it before. The truth is, making Dave grit his teeth through Resi 7 in PSVR appears meaner over time because it's increasingly obvious that it's the scariest game the virtual reality headset has to offer. Not only because this is the full and complete version of the game with the added immersion that VR brings, but because Resi 7 happened to be a big return to form for the survival horror series, mining a rich, gruesome vein of backwater shack horror that brings your eyes, nose and basically all of your other senses uncomfortably close to a world of hazy, putrid, whatever this is.
Hit boy's got to eat. He got to have his supper. Come here, boy. Let's do this.
Although on reflection, it's probably at least as appetizing as what's dessert, which is knives. If you're hoping things will get better, they don't. A lot of Resi 7's horror is about watching awful things happen to you from a new to the series first-person view, only made more intense on PlayStation VR, which means that even when the game opens out into a familiar find the parts of an insanely intricate lock and get the hell out of here format, the tension will not leave your body until the credits roll. To wash the taste of metal and grey flesh from our mouths, let's turn to the bright and beautiful world of Astrobot Rescue Mission. Even in this crowded field, this is probably the team's favourite PSVR game of all time. A wholesome, joyous platformer full of creativity and playfulness. Captain Astro's crew of crazy cute bots has been stranded across 5 different worlds, and it's your job to help rescue them all. And you do it by controlling Astro as you would any other platforming character, but also by being physically present in the world, as a giant robot able to lean around corners, interact with your surroundings, and use several gadgets to help Astro while controlling him at the same time. Under the surface are 1,000 smart design decisions that enable Rescue Mission to both play like an all-time great platformer and take enjoyable advantage of VR, while on the surface it's all adorable animations, delightful puzzles, and a robot pal you want to take home and keep forever. Sticking with science fiction, our next game is a whole universe, more or less, and one that's entirely playable in VR. No Man's Sky released back in 2016 and has been constantly expanded and improved since. The vast simulated world is still full of the same variety and wonder that first brought it to the attention of gamers everywhere, a near endless explorable space with the visual edge of a classic sci-fi paperback. Only now it's more refined, the raw ambition of let's make a playable universe, complemented by missions and tutorials that give structure to your initial feat finding, and beyond if you're not tempted to jack it all in and find your fate amongst the stars. Along with years of updates and improvements has come PSVR support, both for DualShock 4 controls and with a custom holographic menu interface, Move Motion controllers, both of which transform this already extraordinary experience into something else again. Suddenly, the scale of everything is almost overwhelming. Even your starter ship is an imposing hulk of futuristic tech, let alone the sheer size of the planets and systems you'll dash between and scamper across. And as well as scale, there's the added immersion, the head twist to catch the last glimpse of a planet as you leave orbit, the grounded sense of size to a planet's surface, the awesome sense of control, purpose, and having cool toys that comes with sitting in an interactive cockpit in VR. A huge part of No Man's Sky's appeal is losing yourself in an explorable universe full of possibility and adventure, and in PSVR it's possible to go deeper than ever. And sticking with the theme of transporting yourself to another world, next up we have updated mega classic Tetris Effect. Yes, we could easily have said Res Infinite there. We did have a big discussion about which one to include, and you should play Res Infinite as well. They're both made by the same studio and they're both really good. But in the end, the underlying foundation of Tetris's ageless gameplay was probably the difference. The block-dropping mix of speed, strategy, and desperate project management is one of the most enduring, stressful, satisfying interactive experiences ever. And now it's enhanced by Tetris Effect's swirling, sometimes downright distracting visuals and game-synced audio, speeding beat matched with falling blocks, sensory overload aiming for a Res-style flow state, and the whole thing elevated by PSVR to another sweeping, immersive level altogether. Sticking with flow states and abstract worlds, our next game is Superhot VR, the standalone VR version of the Unreal time-slowing shooter. Like Tetris, this is also a bit of a puzzle game too. time moves as you do, creating a series of logic problems that play out in balletic, violent 3D space, forcing you to figure out how to deal with various sequences of enemies approaching from different directions in different environments. And once you have the basics covered, you can enjoy the flourishes, throwing empty weapons, catching guns in midair, and enjoying the slow motion mirror crash effect of splintering enemies. PSVR brings a neck-whipping immersion to these tense enclosed showdowns, and is also thematically perfect too for a game that pulls you into a reality-fraying digital tunnel through backstreet pirated code, an ideal match of form and content.
Super hot. Super hot.
There's more shooting in our next entry, Firewall Zero Hour, a PSVR exclusive that uses the immersion of VR to heighten the tension of its tactical encounters. Firewall is a Counter-Strike-ish Rainbow Six siege affair, with 2 teams of 4 alternating between attack and defense in infiltrate and hack missions. What Firewall has that other tactical shooters don't know is a sense of really being there, ducking, peeking, and with PSVR's aim controller, aiming down sights to pinpoint enemies. And just in case physically placing you inside various locations with 7 heavily armed operatives wasn't tense enough, the game also features a high-stakes permadeath mechanic, giving each encounter an exhilarating all-or-nothing feel.
Oh, and I was just the classic reload.
But you were the shield.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject of high-stakes all-or-nothing gameplay, the final game on our list is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, where a misplaced wire cut or simple miscommunication can end in... Whoever's wearing their headset is the bomb diffuser, and crucially, the bomb is only visible to them. Everybody else is just there to help, asking questions about the bomb and cross-referencing the answers with the instructions to figure out what kind of bomb it is and how to disarm it. Bombs come with various different modules, which all require different approaches, everything from color sequences to Morse code. And naturally, they all have a time limit, forcing everyone to find a balance between carefully describing everything in great detail and going fast enough that things don't end with... Exactly. The result, one of the simplest but most compelling PSVR games of them all. And that's it for our list of the top 10 games for PSVR. We're sure that you've got your own suggestions. Let us know what they are in the comments, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything from the world of PlayStation.